Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to my channel. So this is going to be the first of a 3-part video series, and it's all under the umbrella of groundwork. So groundwork is broken up into 3 different areas. We have this standing container that we call soft acrobatics. We have this mid-level container where we're crawling on our hands and our feet. That's called locomotion. And then we have this floor work container, and this is where we're either sitting on the ground or lying down on our back. So this first video is going to deal with floor work. The nice thing about all of these containers and a lot of the practices that I do is that they're all simple, minimal equipment, and all these things can be done anywhere, including in your home. That's why I'm making this video. So let's get started into the good stuff, and make sure you subscribe to this channel to learn more ways to incorporate movement and exercise into your life. All right, so this isn't a follow along. I'm simply going to show you the steps, and then from here, you can tinker with it and play with it throughout the week or the month, and leave a message in the comments. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, things that you would like to see. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce this long sit position. From long sit, I'm going to bend one leg. This is called a 4 pose. So we're just going to go back and forth between long sit and 4 pose. Long sit and 4 pose. Now let's take it a step further. From 4 pose, I'm going to wrap this second leg around into my shin box. I'm going to unwrap that second leg, straighten out that first leg back into my long sit. 4 pose into shin box. 4 pose into long sit. You'll notice that when you start doing this, you're going to really feel stretching throughout your hips as well as your lower back. Getting on the ground every single day is great for unlocking these areas specifically. Now, from our shin box position, we're going to do a shin box transition. So this back leg that's internally rotated, I'm going to externally rotate it up. I'm going to get as much range of motion out of that as I can until it pulls my other leg up. And then I'm going to flop down into shin box on the other side. Pulling my leg over into my long sit. So now let's make a little pattern out of that. 4 pose, shin box transition, 4 pose into long sit. One more time, 4 pose, shin box transition, 4 pose into long sit. Now keep in mind, as you're doing these patterns, it's okay to use your hands. At first, if you're really tight, you're going to have to use your hands. You won't be able to do any of this with the hands in the air. Over time, you'll notice you can maybe go to one hand, and then eventually we have the mobility and the function where we can do this simply by moving our legs. Okay, now I'm going to take you into a rotational sit-up. So this one can be done from our 4 pose position or our shin box position. I'm going to show it to you from the 4 pose. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same side hand as the leg that's bent. I'm going to place it right next to the knee. Now from here, I want to bring my body forward, and then I'm going to start to swing my body around, and I'm going to collapse this arm. So I'm bringing the elbow in towards my body. I'm not bringing it out and away. I'll give you a side view. I think this will be better for you to see. Here, placing the hand down, tucking that elbow in, and notice how I'm coming forward and down. Now I'm going to go into this side lying position, like here. Now I'm going to make my way back out the same way that I came up. So as I come up, I'll straighten out this leg. Notice how this hand is internally rotating, and it helps push me back up. So again, 4 pose, placing the hand, bringing my body forward, swooping around, collapsing onto that elbow, and I'm actually lying down on the elbow. Okay? Notice that my head is connected to the ground. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to go around. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to come up. So let me give you this straight on view so you can see it better. 4 pose, placing the hand, coming forward, coming into the side lying position, continuing to shift my body's center of mass, coming up, back into my long sit position. One more time. 4 pose, hand, coming forward, doing the rotational sit-up, and up. That's your rotational sit-up. The last pattern that I'm going to show you in the floor work container is a butt spin. My butt spin will happen when I'm in my 4 pose. I'm going to place, once again, the same side hand as the knee that's bent, and I'm going to pull myself into a spin. Notice that I landed on the other side 4 pose. You don't necessarily have to land here. You could have also landed in your shin box. You could have also landed on the same side. So I'll show you. Same side. Or shin box. Butt spin can be done, obviously, in both directions. And you can just keep on going around and around, trying to land in a different pattern. So that time, see how I actually went onto this direction. I switched the legs and I pulled myself into the butt spin. It's a great way to clean your floors as well. If you're still watching, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let's go. I got a little more for you. Okay. So now, the last piece would be to incorporate all 3 of those movements together. Now, if you came to one of my classes, or if you got some personal coaching from me, what we would do is I would have you practice these pieces individually. So you would do the long sit to shin box, 10 repetitions of that, do that for a few weeks. You would do your butt spin, however many repetitions you want. You do that for another 6 weeks. You would do your rotational sit-up. Once you get really comfortable with it, with all the parts individually, now you can start to bring the parts together. And this is called our incorporation phase. In the incorporation phase, you're going to give yourself a set order so you don't have to think about what's coming next. So, in this example, let me do a butt spin into a 4 pose, into a rotational sit-up, back into my long sit. Once again, butt spin, into my rotational sit-up, into my long sit. Oops, I was gonna do the rotational sit-up. Butt spin, into my rotational sit-up, into long sit. Let's do another variation. Let's incorporate that Shin Box transition. Let's say I want to start with my rotational sit-up. I come up in my shin box. I do my Shin Box transition. I go into my butt spin. Once again, rotational sit-up. I end up in that shin box. Shin Box transition takes me right into my butt spin. Once again, rotational sit-up. into my Shin Box Transition takes me into my butt spin. Once you get through your incorporation phase, again, you would do however much time with this. Maybe it's 6 weeks and you really get it. Maybe it takes you longer than 6 weeks to really understand it and to get the flow quality. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but what matters is that you want to be ready before you move on to the next step. The third and the final step is that improvisational layer. So now, rather than having a certain set order with these patterns, you're going to just set a timer and you're going to freely go in and out of all these patterns. And you really just want to see if you can flow through it, trying to connect all the pieces to make everything look smooth. So I'll try to do an example of a flow. All right, so there you have it. We have our long sit to Shin Box Transition. We have our Shin Box to Shin Box Transition. You have your butt spin and you have your rotational sit-up. So make sure you click the next video to see other ways that you can incorporate more movement into your life. You can exercise at your house. You can exercise anywhere. On vacation, you don't need that much equipment. My name is Joey, aka Mini Movement Man. Move well, and we'll see you next time. Peace.